At first, nobody took the idea seriously. The thought of world leaders settling disputes with their fists instead of sending young men and women to die? It sounded like a joke, some wild internet meme that would fade like all the others. But then, things started shifting. People were exhausted from endless wars. They were tired of watching their governments pour trillions into conflicts they never asked for. More than anything, they were sick of the powerful making decisions that cost ordinary lives while they sat comfortably behind security teams and war rooms. The idea of leaders fighting their own battles started sounding less ridiculous and more necessary. In 2032, the world changed. The Global Combat Agreement was signed, and just like that, war as humanity had known it was over. Instead of sending armies, countries would send their leaders into the ring, a massive underground stadium built in the Nevada desert. The rules were simple. Winner takes all. No weapons, no interference, no backing out. The first fight was between the United States and Russia. The world held its breath as the American president, a former MMA fighter with the scars to prove it, stepped into the ring. Across from him stood the Russian president, a man rumored to have wrestled bears in his youth. There were no speeches, no formalities, just the sound of flesh meeting flesh as the Russian charged first. The fight was brutal. Every punch thrown wasn't just for their country, it was for absolute control. When the dust settled, the Russian lay motionless on the ground. The American stood victorious. No treaties, no negotiations, just a single knockout that decided the future. That fight changed everything. Elections stopped being about campaign ads and fake promises. Suddenly, a man's strength, endurance, and ability to stand his ground mattered more than his ability to talk in circles. Presidential debates, replaced by televised sparring matches. Candidates no longer ran on slogans, they ran on who could take a hit and keep going. The world adjusted quickly. With no wars, leaders had to fight their own battles. No more sacrificing soldiers for political games. If you wanted power, you had to prove you deserved it. Presidential training camps became the norm. Leaders had to be strong, fast, and capable, or they'd be humiliated on a global stage. And the people? They loved it. Some fights became legendary. When Trump and Kim Jong-un faced off in 2036, Trump entered the ring in a golden robe while Kim chewed gum, acting like he wasn't about to get his ass beat. The first punch came from Trump, a brutal right hook that sent Kim staggering. Kim, desperate, tried to throw sand in Trump's eyes. He was disqualified instantly. America won by default. Then there was the battle of the tech giants in 2040, Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg. The stakes? Control over global AI regulations. Zuckerberg fought with machine-like precision, some claimed he had robotic enhancements, while Musk fought dirty, using unpredictable street-fighting tactics. The fight ended when Musk threw a Tesla battery at Zuckerberg's head, knocking him out cold. The biggest showdown came in 2045, the US versus China. The Chinese president was a former Shaolin monk, his speed almost supernatural. The American president was a 7-time wrestling champion. The fight lasted 45 minutes. Every punch, every kick, every grapple deciding the fate of two superpowers. America barely won. The world held its breath. Life changed in ways nobody expected. With wars gone, leaders became warriors. If you couldn't fight, you couldn't lead. No more weak men making decisions for millions. Politicians were no longer just faces on a screen. They were fighters the people could actually respect. Betting on political fights became bigger than the Super Bowl. Elections were brutal, with candidates bleeding for their right to rule. Most of all, cowards no longer had a place in power. For the first time in history, people truly believed in their leaders. Because now, power wasn't won with money, deception, or empty words. It was won with blood, on